Hey guys, so welcome back to another Forex forecasts, or weekly breakdown, weekly forecast, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, welcome back. So let's see what's going to happen in this coming week ahead. Just to do a quick rundown though, for all the analysis I did last week, I'm happy to say that all of them worked out almost perfectly. And unfortunately, only got to involved in like 3 out of like 5 pairs I think that I did last week. But it is what it is. You can't get involved in every single move of the market. You just got to pick and choose your battles, right? So yeah, without further ado, let's get started. So first of all, let's look at Bitcoin first, especially with the whole coming news, like, whole FTX thing. I think it's quite interesting, and it's probably one that most people want to hear about. So let's get right into that one. So first of all, on weekly time frame, what can we see? So on the weekly time frame, we have a huge bearish momentum over here coming all back when we had a consolidation over here. We didn't quite grab liquidity up here though, but that's fine. We did do a quick break and retest of this structure level over here. So that's something to keep an eye on. There is a chance that we go back up and retest these levels up here before coming back down. There is a chance for that, but right now we're just gonna keep carrying on selling the momentum, which is all the way down here. So in terms of the first target I have set out, it's 14,000, around that level, especially after we broke these major lows over here and these yearly lows as well. We're creating more yearly lows currently, especially this one right now. So obviously first expectation is we want to break this level, and then we potentially going all the way back down to these 1400 levels, and then we could potentially start climbing back up to potentially 28,000 or so to retest these levels, because we are yet to break them due to the insane push to the downside of crypto and Bitcoin as a whole. Okay, so as for the daily time frame, so let me just hide this real quick, that's not needed at the moment. So as for the daily time frame, as we have just broken this level, I do expect a retracement back out to these structure levels over here, which was previously support. Now it's going to probably act like resistance now. And plus we can do some sort of relief, and we expect some sort of profit taking around these levels anyways. So I do expect a bit of relief for Bitcoin for the continuation back down. As you saw as well, as a bit of a spoiler alert over here, we also have the VWAP sitting over here. You can see after basically the initial push down, the initial leg to the downside over here, that's what I put my VWAP on, because the quarterly, if I just actually hide this for now, if I had this for now, you can see the quarterly VWAP isn't showing much at the moment, mainly because of how impulsive Bitcoin has been. So let me just hide that again and put my VWAP on there. My expectation is I do expect a retracement back up to the first deviation of the VWAP over here, potentially climbing slightly above it and then pulling back down. Yeah, so around these 18,400 level, which I think I forgot to mention is a daily level over here, okay? As for the hour time frame, we have something quite interesting to look at. Is we have liquidity sitting above here, which is the short-term high currently. So we have one liquidity sitting over here. We have a daily level sitting over here. We also have a VWAP level, and I'm sure if I go back to the weekly time frame and put this, we do have volume clusters around these levels as well. So a lot of our confluences do match up. Obviously, we don't want to underestimate as well the overall bearish sentiment of Bitcoin due to FTX, and that doesn't look like it's going to be solved anytime soon. So I do expect a continuation sell-off for Bitcoin, especially as some of the people that like FTX as a whole was holding some Bitcoin assets, so they're probably gonna have to sell that in the open market, so they can have some pay off some debts and some sort of those things if you guys want to get into that fundamentals. But yeah, so that's overall I'm looking at right now. Obviously it's probably going to be the same thing for Ethereum as well, but we're not going to look at that today. Next thing we're going to look at is pound yen. So again, let's look at the weekly time frame. So first of all, in the weekly time frame, what do we have here? I've been speaking about this all this time, and I've done it even before this breakout. Okay, I've said it before this breakout. We have consolidation over here. We've grabbed liquidity to the bottom. What did we do? We grabbed buy side liquidity over here. Now we've got buy side liquidity. We failed to hold these top levels, and we're starting to fall back down below. So what does this mean? Now, one, we've fallen back down below into these range, so that could be considered as a little fake out over here, and I could anticipate price falling at least to 160, which is like this, the base or the support of this consolidation move over here. So that's what I'm expecting. As for the daily level over here, I forgot as well. There's a weekly level I'm marking out over here as basically the initial breakout. It's a bit messy because of all the wicks and stuff, So yeah, it's quite a lot to basically, if I was to do it properly, it'd probably look something like this instead of just one line, but I just put the line in there anyways, just so it's all clean and stuff. All right. As for the daily time frame, guys, so I do have two levels, so two potential retracement levels. One is the earliest one, which is this one at 165,500 psychological level, and it could be a decent little retracement move back up for the continuation back down. Another one is a bit of a deeper retracement, which is these highs over here. We could expect a price to retrace back into these 167s and continue back down to 159,500 around that level. As for the 12-hour time frame, as for the 12-hour time frame, there's not much to look at the moment, but we do have these lows over here that we're looking at. So when these lows are broken, we can assume that we're probably going to have a clean move to the downside around 159,500 if we clear those, especially that you can see there was loads of buyers looking to get involved in this market and they actually hold them. So if you break those buyers and they start to get into drawdown, I do imagine them starting to lose a bit of faith in their trade, start closing their positions, and probably start pushing price to the downside as they sell off their buying positions. Okay, as you can see here in the 12-hour time frame as well, we do have a clearer and visual of what could potentially be happening at the start. So we have a breakdown below over here. We get retracement back on to 165,500 and a push back down. So again, a little break and retest. Exactly the same thing. Simple price action. Is very, very simple, but it's very effective at the same time, right? So these are the levels we're looking at right now. So yeah, we're looking at either 165 or 167 is the retracement back down, as the levels that we're looking to retrace to for the continuation back down to 159,500. If I was to put a VWAP level over here, I would probably put it into here, honestly. Where the move started, we can see that around these levels we do have the VWAP sitting here, so for the continuation back down. But obviously don't have the VWAP entirely in mind, it's just a little guide for us. But at the end of the day, it could do something like this where price dips down below the deviation but still climbs back up above. So nothing stopping it from doing a big steep wick to the upside and then continuing back down below. But yeah, so that's what we're looking at so far. The VWAP isn't very important on GJ at the moment. There's not much we can put on there, so we're going to leave it for now. Another place that we can put the VWAP, I suppose, is here. Kind of lines up again with the second deviation. However, it's not really a trend yet. We've only had the second, so we don't have the third yet to really base off a proper trend. So we'll remove that for now, okay? So pound Aussie dollar over here. Let's start off with the weekly level. Weekly time frame over here, again, exactly the same. So we have consolidation over here, grab of sell side liquidity, and then we grab buy side liquidity. We hunted it. We finished back down below. We've now retested that level actually. So it's something to keep in mind, right? We've already retested the level, so we could even be cleared to start pushing back down to 1.72 here. As for the daily time frame over here, we have one, I've marked out this level, which could be something that could start rejecting our trade, or if we look for a breakout trade, it might be a decent little breakout trade for us to continue back down and the start of the overall move. As for the 12-hour time frame, we don't have much to look at in the 12-hour time frame besides, again, these major lows that we could potentially start rejecting off from. As you can see, it had a major impact on price prior to this, and we had a big rally to the upside, so nothing's stopping it from doing the same thing again. And we're actually going to go skip straight down to the hour time frame over here to see. This is probably one of the setups that are almost ready. So we have left buy side liquidity up here. We've taken sell side liquidity down here. So what we could potentially do is make one more retracement back up to 1.7, almost 1.78250 around that level, and a continuation back down into 1.735 if that's your first target. And obviously the overall target is 1.7, 1.7, and then the overall target is just below 1.6, right? But that's a long-term target, and you should probably just target to start off with 1.7, okay? So just to make that clear, what I'm expecting to happen is a bit of a push up to reject 1.78500 potentially as a psychological level, and push back down to 1.73500, or even lower still to 1.72, right? Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense for people. Next thing is gold, okay? So gold, let's look in the weekly time frame over here. So first of all, let's actually, don't need that. We need to hide that for, just to make the chart cleaner. There you go. So first of all, on the weekly time frame, we have just retested these weekly levels over here, which was previously support. I can't talk anymore. So these levels was previously support. As you can see, once we broke past it twice over here, we had a huge bearish movement over here. So there was clearly a lot of traders looking to absolutely blast through this level. So we could potentially start looking at this as holding it as resistance now and going back down to these support where these liquidity levels are. I do expect though, so these are just the overall targets, right? But I do expect that once we've broken these sell side liquidity over here, you can see how perfect these relatively equal lows are created. I imagine there's a lot of liquidity sitting above here where buyers are looking to buy from and traders looking to sell down to. So there's probably a lot of traders looking around this level. I do expect overall that once we've broken this level, we're probably going to shoot back down quite quickly. Okay. That's my expectation. So if you guys are going to hold runners, this is probably a good trade to hold runners too. And potentially the first target, or the runners target potentially is 15.25, around that level. Okay. As for the daily level, we have one thing. So we have this level over here, which if we break down below, it could be a good selling signal, because one, we failed to sustain this high. Okay, so we have buy side liquidity over here. If we fail to sustain this high, this would technically be counted as a fake out, and we could potentially be retracing all the way down to sell side liquidity. Okay, another thing that it could be used for though, however, is a little push back down to a break and retest. Okay, that could potentially happen as well. And keep an eye on how price is moving around these levels. If let's say an hour close above and it looks like a rejection candle, kind of like this one, you're probably best to kind of buy up to 1800, these next levels over here, potentially these previous highs, and then sell around the 1800 level and continue selling around the 1800 level. As for the 12-hour time frame, we do have a few confluences coming our side. So first of all, this buy opportunity over here would very much line up with this VWAP level here. As price trickles back down into itself, these VWAP levels move alongside with it, and you can expect price to fall in perfectly in this daily level, right? So we could potentially be looking for that. But I do expect a little bit of what's it called, manipulation around this level. So expect a big wick or something around these levels to grab those, to grab those early stop losses. And then another thing is, while price is falling back down below, I do expect this VWAP to kind of line perfectly with this other daily level for the continuation back down. So expect this little price action to happen for gold. Overall target is still 1620. However, if price remains bullish, that 1800 is definitely a level for us, because right now gold is in a bit of a an in-between state, right? So it could easily turn bullish, especially with some momentum riding over here, and what the Fed is doing could easily turn bullish. However, if you look at the weekly time frame, we're still very much bearish. Okay, we're still very much bearish. We still haven't broken any of these major highs over here. We could potentially retrace back into these major highs. That's what we're potentially expecting, around 1800. But overall, I do expect price to continue back down. As for euro dollar, exactly the same thing. So we are still overall bearish, but this could easily start turning a bit bullish in the short term anyways, especially with these momentum coming in and the Fed doing what they're doing, which is, the inflation was slightly lower than anticipated. So in theory, the interest rates for the US dollar shouldn't go up anytime soon. That's why there is anticipation of the US dollar weakening, and that's why we're rallying against the US dollar, and that's why you can see Dixie is also falling. Okay, that's the reason why the dollar is increasing, because the CPI numbers were a bit lower than expected. Right, so that's something we need to keep an eye on. As for nothing on the daily level really, nothing that won't line up with a weekly anyway. So I could obviously put the daily level over here, but it kind of lines up with a weekly anyway, so it's just going to clutter the chart, so there's no point of doing it. As for the 12-hour time frame, we do have this VWAP kind of lining up almost perfectly to a T with this weekly level over here. So something to keep in mind. It's also a psychological level of 1.0600. So it's a very psychological level, a very rounded number, so it's a decent level to start bouncing off from. As for the first targets we're looking at, is 0.955, or just maybe if you want to be a bit more cautious, exactly 1. Okay, just target 1 exactly. For the first thing is I do expect there is a chance where price does start to push back down from the level it's at currently, so market open. However, keep in mind that there is a level of support down to these levels, okay? So these levels and these levels as well. There's definitely support around this level, so just be careful because price could bounce off these levels and start rallying back up again. So just be mindful of that, okay? As for the hour time frame, not much to look at in the hour, mostly because of how impulsive everything has been. So, you know, there is a little bit of a fragile trend line that we could be looking at over here, where if price does fall back down below, we could start looking for the sell-off. And again, just be mindful of where those levels were earlier. So I'll mark them down for you guys now, actually, where those levels are. I don't mark these too often because I just have in the back of my mind. But yeah, so if you want to look for the same buying opportunity as I presented to you earlier on gold, these are the levels you're looking at right here. Decent buy opportunities, but again, I do expect some sort of manipulation around those levels. So don't be surprised if we see major wicks potentially, and then start climbing back up above. Okay, I also forgot to put on the gold as well, just an addition. We do have again a fragile trend line over here, or fragile channel over here, which if broken, we could start rejecting these daily levels, as I said previously. However, if we start breaking this this trend line in itself, we could start to push all the way back down to these 1.610 levels as my target. So yeah, just mindful of that. This is a perfect channel, but that has been building liquidity and building orders. So if that's broken, we could start to see a bit of a fall back down to these lows previously. Okay. That's about it, I think. So I think that's all the what's it called? All the I forgot analysis that I'm gonna show. That's just all the analysis I was gonna share with you guys anyway. So that's the end of the video. I hope you guys learned something. If not, I hope you guys are able to use any of these informations. But again, so just be careful with the market next week. It could be very volatile as we have quite a bit of news coming in. So yeah, just be careful, guys, and obviously risk properly and always be mindful of what else could happen, okay? So with that being said, guys, thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed that. And yeah, see you guys next week. Bye.